How can schools reduce the stigma around mental health? Reducing stigma around mental health in schools is all about creating a culture where it's normal to talk about our feelings, where it's normal to ask for help, and it's normal to support others, just like we do with our physical health. Unlike our physical health, we might not be able to see some of those difficulties in relation to mental health and to well-being. And so being able to ask for help and know that there is somebody that can support us is really helpful. It also does help to reduce the stigma around mental health because we are now able to talk about it and normalize that conversation around mental health. So a key area to reduce the stigma around mental health is to normalize those conversations about it. We should be integrating mental health into our curriculums through all sorts of different approaches, whether that be how our students are feeling about their maths lesson in relation to mental health and well-being, or whether it be explicit teaching about mental health and well-being through our RSPH or PSHE curriculums. I think we need to provide mental health literacy training as well, not just for our staff, but also developing that knowledge for our pupils. Because if we have the knowledge about mental health, this reduces fear, and fear fuels stigma. So if we have knowledge about something, we don't feel quite so scared or worried about it. If we're not feeling that fear, then we're not going to start saying things that maybe aren't quite true. And that's how the stigmatization of a particular area or a particular subject begins. I think amplifying student voice within a school setting is really, really important. So if we allow our students to co-design policies around mental health and well-being, or lead assemblies on mental health and well-being, or just be a part of the approach that the school wants to adopt, this definitely will help to reduce that stigma around mental health. I think another area that we can be thinking about is the creativity around those events that happen. So there's lots of special days or special weeks in which we focus on mental health and well-being, and those have very definitely got value. Those definitely help to reduce that stigma around mental health. But how do we make those a little bit more interesting, a little bit more inclusive? How do we make sure they're solution focused and not focused on sort of the real negative doom and gloom side of things? So let's make those awareness events really creative. Let's make them stick in people's minds so that when they are feeling a challenge or an issue, or they come across something to do with mental health, maybe some of that learning will come back to them because it was delivered in such a creative approach. For example, you might want to get an inspirational speaker in, someone who's actually had these experiences that can share those lived experiences with your students. All of these things really do help to reduce the stigma around mental health. And finally, probably one of the most important ones is to create safe spaces and to create support systems within your setting. You need to let those students know that help is available, and you need to let your colleagues know that help is available if they need it too. That help is not just available, but it's accepted and it's respected. So if we ask for help, we're going to get that help, whether that be from you as an individual or from somebody else. If we ask, it's given. So to reduce the stigma around mental health, we need to normalise our talk about feelings. We need to normalise that willingness and ability to ask for help, and we need to be willing to support others in whichever way we feel able to do so.